afternoon. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. We're talking about the benefits of homeschooling. This is part 2 of those benefits, and we've been through quite a few of them. And I'm going to have to tell you, if my son were in school now, I would be homeschooling him. Now, I'll have to say this: he went to a really good private school. It's a Christian school, Trinity Christian Academy out of Oxford, Alabama, and I'm very, very pleased with the outcome there. He's a good boy. And perfect, no, but a good boy, yes. And so he's in the ministry now. But I'll have to say, there's something to this homeschooling. And it makes sense. Social reasons is one of the reasons I come up with is, parents and teachers, it's not a two-way street anymore. And there's some awesome teachers, but the problem is the way they're held accountable. Somebody can show out in school. Back in my day, you didn't show out because, first of all, the teacher corrected you, then the principal corrected you, then a note went home, then your parents corrected you, and you didn't dare not bring the note home because the teacher would actually call your parents to find out if you did bring the note home so that they could explain. So there was just no getting out of it. So that was just number one. You just don't want to show out, okay? You just want to do what you're supposed to do in school. So we were talking just a minute at the past show about the benefits of homeschooling, the mental and the emotional health of a child being homeschooled. So I'm going to go over a couple of those, and then we're going to dig in. So homeschooling avoids the negative aspects of the school environment. Mental health can be significantly impacted by bullying and negative peer pressure, which lowers self-esteem. I've seen so many kids, sharp, bright, what have you, but the low self-esteem, they just couldn't get over it. A key advantage of homeschooling is that it removes a child from those influences and pressures and embeds them in a caring family environment. Now, if you're going to do this at home, make sure you are a caring family, okay? Because you don't want to ruin your kids. Make sure you love your kids before you do this. And make sure you got the heart for teaching as well. Greater emphasis on independence. Your child can participate in their own learning, and you can help design programs around their interests. This develops motivation, greater independence, and problem-solving skills. Quality time at home builds strong family relationships as well. It may even help reduce the distance that can sometimes develop between the teenager and the parent. That can happen. Sometimes it's just other kids say they don't get along with their parents. So then, your kid may say, well, I guess it's a popular thing to say that you don't get along with your parents, and there you go. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on this one. Less judgment. Who needs judgment anyway? Children can express themselves and develop creativity without fear of judgment or the need to feel they must conform to the ideas of others. A child is unlikely to feel embarrassed about asking a parent about something they haven't understood, rather than putting their hand up in front of a classroom full of peers and be made fun of, which can happen. When I was going to school, I didn't care. If I didn't understand something, up went my hand. Boost confidence. That's what I like to see. Yeah, I like to see a child with some confidence. Not arrogance, but confidence. There's a huge difference between the two. If your child's skills are uneven, and most children excel at some, and then this is every child, okay? It's not just your child. There's some things you're going to excel at, some things you're going to struggle at. That's just the way it is. But you can structure learning accordingly. This boosted confidence is one of the great pros of homeschooling. Also removes your child from anxiety triggers. Let's talk about that. A 2018 study found that 25% of adolescents experience anxiety disorders. Removing your child from common anxiety triggers such as bullying and homework is one of the many benefits of homeschooling. And if your child is already anxious, you can provide a safe environment and focus more on therapy than would be possible in a public school classroom situation. And that's not the problem. It's not because of the teachers. They're doing whatever they can. And again, don't go out and bully teachers because of what I'm saying. There are some awesome teachers out there. They just don't have all the tools they need. And it's social. It's just a social thing that's been brought onto the United States by some groups. And again, I don't want to lose good teachers, but more has to be done. But you got to think about your kids, okay? All right, now more understanding environment with few distractions. This is a major advantage to children who are experiencing a need that is hard to deal with in a structured classroom situation. For example, ADHD. I had ADHD. I most certainly did. It wasn't labeled then, but I most certainly had it. It was not acceptable. And so I had to struggle. I had to try harder. Also, I would see numbers in some, like D and B. I see those backward. But you know something? It's something that can be helped. Most people in the entertainment business have that, by the way. ADHD. That's why I said I would look outside the window. Oh, and also the teacher thought I wasn't paying attention. So what would happen is she would say, Donna, what did I just say? Well, I would repeat every single thing she said. She would look a little shocked about that because she really thought I wasn't paying attention. But I was. I was just looking out the window and listening to her and my imagination going crazy at the same time. More understanding about ADHD. This can protect minority groups from prejudice, by the way. For example, 20% of the African American parents said they chose homeschooling because they wanted to avoid racism that's in public schools. Absolutely. Okay, benefits of homeschooling, the social development part of it. Okay, the impact of homeschooling on social development is just another key concern expressed by those who have reservations about homeschooling. So let's dig some more. Yet homeschooling can provide more opportunities for children to mix with people of diverse backgrounds. They have a richer variety of experiences and a stronger sense of social responsibility than their public school peers. Provides a broader mix of people and experiences. How's that? Well, I'm going to tell you. Homeschooling enables children to more easily meet a wider mix of people and access a broader range of experience. They go on more field trips and they're easy to organize, while homeschoolers represent only 3% of the student population. They average 25% of the contestants annually at the Scripps Spelling Bee. Let me repeat this. Okay, so field trips are easy to organize, and again, while homeschoolers represent only 3% of the 3% of the student population, they average 25% of the contestants annually at the Scripps Spelling Bee, 10% of the National Geographic Spelling Bee, and 66, this is a big number, and 66% of the USA Math. Can you believe this? That says a lot right there, okay? Now, significant positive outcomes for social development. I mean, what I just said alone would be enough for me to go, okay, Brad, you're homeschooled. Okay, a range of studies, Carlson 2020 and Ray 2020, show that homeschoolers fare as well and sometimes better than their public school counterparts in terms of socialization. You know why? Because you may have a brother and sister who bullies you, and sometimes that can be rough. I know, I've been there. But in terms of socialization, they're not having to go through that on such a high scale level. This also leads to greater community participation. So the freedom homeschooling enables you to build service or volunteer work into your curriculum. Nearly twice as many homeschool children participate in ongoing community service activities and become more civical and also politically engaged and tolerant than their conventional school peers. And this is from the NHERI. And I'll tell you something. There are so many things because I'm taking classes, Auburn University, and it's on gardening, Master Gardeners program that they have there. And there's just something, I know I'm like 63 years old, but there's just something about, we go on these little trips, and And there's something about sitting inside a classroom that's important. You got to do that. It's necessary. That's whether you're homeschooled or you're in a conventional classroom. But there's something about going out on a trip. I know we went to this guy's farm, which was pretty cool. So we go to this guy's farm, and he actually has just tons of muscadine plants. Well, I have muscadines, but I've never been really successful with them. I have a few, but not many. And so what I learned from him, just being there on the farm and, in helping him with me and the other students, we were there helping this guy. And he let us take some of what we had cut back. He let us take those home. And so we were able to go home and root those. You just learn more from going on a trip. So there are so many advantages. Homeschooler moms, take your kids on the farm. Let them really see where food comes from, literally, And then if you have your own garden, I would think you could put that into your curriculum as well. Okay, provides more opportunity for social activities. With less time spent traveling to school, moving around the building, lining up, and homework, then there's actually more time for social activities. In fact, according to the NHERI, 98% of homeschoolers are involved in more than 2 activities outside the home. And the average number of activities they are engaged in is 5.2. 5.2. That's a lot. Growing numbers of support groups and associations, I'm really proud of that. As homeschooling continues to grow, more and more homeschooling support groups and associations are springing up, providing lots of opportunities for homeschoolers to interact with their peers. That's another awesome thing right there. Oh, it's time to go into a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. See you hanging there, okay? The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is #1 as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community. Whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need, toys at Christmas, or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Donna's Designs offers a line of handmade memorial, wedding, and keepsake jewelry that launched back in 1970. I'm a self-trained jewelry designer, and I will work closely with you to create unique designs you can love and treasure for years to come. Whether that be flowers that were used in a funeral arrangement or stones you found on the beach at a memorable trip, call me at 256-659-4319, and let's think of the possibilities. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and please don't forget that podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Again, thank you so much for watching. We are talking about the advantages of homeschool. I just said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I would definitely homeschool Brad if he were younger right now. Benefits of homeschooling, let's talk about physical health. How does that help? The fact that homeschool children are not required to participate in physical education programs has risen concern about the physical health of homeschool children. And yet, let's talk about this. Homeschooling provides more opportunity for physical activity. Children in traditional schools are pretty much while sitting most of the day. Homeschooling allows your child to get out into the natural environment, play, dance, engage with sports more readily. We talked about that on the last show. Also, guess what? You can prioritize sleep. Children's sleep needs change, especially during when they're little kids. Homeschooling allows you to optimize both children's sleep time and their period of wakefulness. So you can time learning to fit better time with your child's body clock. Now, let me explain this to you. So, we were going to school. We went from Oxford High School to Geraldine High School. Lived out in the country, so our school bus driver was one of the neighbors. So guess what? We were the first ones on in the morning and the first one or the last ones home every day. It was a long route. It took way over an hour out of the time. Well, I cooked our supper. So when I got in, I would have to do my homework and so I cooked supper for the family when everybody was coming in from work. Both my parents worked. And I tell you, I was beat being on that bus for over an hour going to school and over an hour coming back. That's 2 hours of my life just wasted. And it was hard to read on the bus because the roads were bumpy and you know, I'd try to read and I would try to learn all I could. It's just that I couldn't. I mean, and then it was loud, other kids on the bus and what have you. But that does not mean that you can't that you work around your child's. Oh, and by the way, because we had to be on the bus and go like an hour earlier with the first ones on, we had to get up really early in the morning to make sure we didn't miss the bus. That was something. Homeschooling does not mean less sport. Homeschoolers often take part in the community or recreational sports leagues and classes. Homeschooling actually allows you to devote more time to developing athletic talent, as you can schedule learning around training. Also supports from studies. A recent 2020 study found that no aspect of physical health, cardio, respiratory health, fitness, BMI, was negatively affected by homeschooling. That was done by Cabery, a home studying expert there. Okay, benefits of homeschooling for parents and families. Let's talk about that. We got to take care of the parents too, right? Continuing education for you. You're constantly learning. Homeschooling provides an opportunity for you to join your child as an equal in their learning journey. I mean, you were there with them when they learned to walk, right? When they learned to talk, right? Okay, let's extend it. You could learn a new language, explore an unfamiliar historical period, or visit a new location for the first time together. And I'm going to tell you something, kids remember trips. In any event, it's an opportunity for you to grow alongside your child. Okay, alignment with your values. You can be assured that what your child is learning aligns with your aims, morals, and values. Growing resources and support bundles. There are now readily available learning bundles, associations, and groups to support your teaching and meet like-minded people. You're going to be with people that are like you, which is pretty cool. You benefit from low student-teacher ratios too. One of the most significant pros of homeschooling is the very low student-to-teacher ratio. Some homeschoolers claim to fit a whole day of learning into a couple of hours, leaving the rest of the day for you to do what you want to do. Holidays. Okay, you can take holidays during the school year and save lots of money. Yeah, and let that be a learning experience for your child as well. You know, a lot of musicians, they have to travel, they're on a bus and whatever, and they have kids. They take their wives, and so it's a homeschooling thing for them as well. I know a lot of, and it's not just, Christian musicians either. A lot of musicians are doing that. I think it's a grand idea. Kid gets to learn a lot. So they're on the road with you. They get to see the world. I just think it's great. Okay, lifestyle. So if you or your partner work in a profession or live a life that requires a lot of relocation, homeschooling provides continuality and stability. Okay, no more looking for the good school. Okay, you got a good one already. Share your expertise and passion. So if you have a particular talent yourself or expertise, you can bring that into the curriculum and use that as a context for learning. Also fits around your schedule. You can work homeschooling around a schedule that fits you and your family. You're not tied to a bus or school timetables, especially the bus one. I know from that one for sure. Okay, here's the conclusion. So let's get in. There really are many advantages and pros of homeschooling your child. You can also check out 100 plus statistics on homeschooling obtained from referenced credible resources to find academic backing for a decision to homeschool. Now, to sum up everything, you need to add some data in support of it. So let's go ahead and add that data. 78% of peer-reviewed studies on academic achievement showed homeschool students perform statistically significantly better than those in regular schools. Out of 15 studies on social and emotional development, 13 of them showed clearly significant positive outcomes for the homeschool students compared to those in conventional schools. And over 90% of homeschoolers studied are happy they were homeschooled. With that said, whether it's right for you depends on you and your circumstances, but hopefully this article is going to help you to understand the benefits of homeschooling and why it's a growing trend. I think when COVID hit, a lot of parents actually found out, homeschooling. Maybe I can do that because I'm not bringing some weird liberal idea into my kid's head. Okay, let's talk about this. I think we've got time for just a few more of these. It's 100 plus essential homeschooling statistics. So let's talk about those. Okay, prior to the pandemic, around 3.4% of the total K-12 school-aged population was being homeschooled. So by autumn 2020, this had more than doubled to 9%. By 2022, there were about, listen to this, there were about 3.1 million homeschool students in grades K-12 in the United States, roughly 6% of school-aged children. Half of parents who weren't homeschooling before the pandemic viewed it as more favorable now. Over 300 million children worldwide are being homeschooled, and there's even more since this article came out. Over 90% of homeschoolers studied were glad that they were homeschooled. 80% of homeschooled children who were studied said they would homeschool their own children. 78% of peer-reviewed studies on academic achievement show homeschool students perform much, much better than those in institutional schools. And this is something that's really nice too. So homeschooling is legal in all 50 states. Now I've got a surprising one for you right here. This is very surprising. California, North Carolina, and Texas have the highest number of homeschooling students. I'm going to read this one to you again. California, North Carolina, and Texas have the highest number of homeschooling students. So the lowest is Vermont, Wyoming, and Connecticut. Those three states have the lowest number of homeschooling. Now, studies have found homeschoolers are far less likely to major in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-based disciplines. 74% of homeschooling parents cited dissatisfaction with academic instruction in schools for a reason for their choice. 71% of the homeschooled participate in ongoing community service activity compared to 37% of the general population, and the greatest number and percentages of European homeschoolers reside in the United Kingdom. That was a surprising statistic too. Okay, in the pandemic. So half of the students who weren't homeschooling in February 2020 viewed it more favorably in June. A quarter of parents who weren't homeschooling in February 2020 viewed it less favorably in June. So 53% of black parents had a more favorable view of homeschooling following the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, about 3.4% of the total K-12 school-age population was being homeschooled. By autumn 2020, this had more than doubled to 9%, and now it's done much more. The National Homeschool Association received over 3,400 requests for information on a single day in July 2020. That's up to 5 to 20 per day before the coronavirus. In Massachusetts, 7,188 students statewide transferred from public school to homeschooling in 2020 compared to 802 the previous year. That's a big jump. 802 the previous year to 7,188. In North Carolina, homeschooling filings nearly tripled and crashed the state's non-public education website. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. My name is Donna, and I am your host. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundant Television found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And that's something you can also find us on podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later with another fantastic show.